Oh, ooh, oh, and that refreshing. Some Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is being spilled in the studio, but it's all good. As this week we're talking all about creating Team Coca-Cola with our guest Pam from 160 over 90 agency is coming up right here on specialchronicles.com.
This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shuddered thinking how the world can be so cruel, and my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time to stand. It starts with a voice.
Almost forgot to unmute myself. Welcome to the Special Chronicles Podcast. Believe it or not, I've been doing this for 15 years now. My name is Daniel Smrokowski. I'm the founder and host of Special Chronicles, a Southern Tribal Global Messenger alum with Special Olympics and a Team Coca-Cola athlete. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream archives of over 750 episodes absolutely for free. And to follow Special Chronicles on social media, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. This week on the Special Chronicles podcast, if you couldn't tell by listening to the audio podcast, go check out the video on YouTube, and you will see let me see if I remember how to hold the the can. Coca-Cola, oh wait, my hand was covering there somewhere. There we go. I know how to hold the drinks. We'll get into why I do on this episode, which this week is the first time that we are actually announcing this new maybe being part of Team Coca-Cola. As we talk about Celebrate Everyday Greatness, our guest is Pam Rappaport, Vice President of Partnerships at 160 over 90 creative agency, as we talk about how her whole team is creating their marketing and advertising assets for Team Coca-Cola and promotion of the Paris 2024 Olympics and Paralympics. Please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Pam on the Special Chronicles podcast. Welcome, Pam.
Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Good. I don't know if you saw backstage, and when the podcast goes live, you have to check it out, because probably our listeners probably didn't even notice, but I actually, when I opened up that can for the opening sequence, I had spilled a little bit in my studio.
We've all been there. We've all done that.
But it's all good. It's good to have you on the program, and for our listener. Oh, I forgot to have you. This is the part in the pre-show that I forgot to do. I forgot to have you add your job title at the bottom of the lower thirds, but I will try to add that in the introduction. So with that, why don't you remind all or share with the listeners how we got connected and some highlights from, because this episode is the first time that we are announcing to our listeners of why I was in. Well, I don't even think our listeners even knew that I was in Barcelona last October. So share with the listeners how we got connected, and then some highlights from the Barcelona Photoshoot of all of us Team Coca-Cola athletes at dinner, and our time hanging out in the trailer, and the two locations of the shoots. But how do we get connected, and then some highlights from that photo shoot.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. My name is Pam. I work at, as Daniel mentioned, 160 over 90. So our agency has worked with Francesca and the Coca-Cola team since 2018. We have worked with them putting together their Team Coca-Cola, which is a team of really awesome, diverse athletes. We've done it for the 2019 Women's World Cup, which was in Paris. We've done it. We did it for the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, which was a little weird just because of COVID. We just recently did it for the 2023 Women's World Cup. And then now, in T-minus a week and a half, we will be doing this for Paris 2024. So what we're in charge of is obviously working very closely with Coca-Cola and the different Coca-Cola brands and all the different Coca-Cola countries is to figure out what type of athletes that they're looking for, and not so much what sport, but the stories that these athletes are telling, because this is all about storytelling. And then our job was to do a giant research project and propose a lot of athletes to them, and then together whittle it down to, which ultimately was 26 athletes from 20 plus countries around the world. So we have Olympic athletes, we have Paralympic athletes, and then we have one Special Olympic athlete, which is Daniel. We had 2 Special Olympic athletes in the Tokyo program. And I mean, this program is just all about telling these athletes' stories in conjunction with the different brands that we're working with, whether it's Smart Water, Coke, Fuse Tea, Powerade. Just like each person has their own story and like kind of who they are. Each of these beverages have their own story and their own branding. So we kind of like married them together so that people could relate to both of them a little bit more. So then how Daniel and I met, I actually feel like I knew you way before you actually knew me because of all of the research we've been doing. And sorry, I work in New York City and you probably hear a giant fire truck, but so it's a little weird because we've known all of these athletes for so long, and I feel like you were my best friend, yet you had no idea who I was. But we most of us all met in Barcelona back in October of 2023, and we had a 5-day shoot all over the city of Barcelona. And just to give you a little context, I think we ended up shooting 18 of the athletes there, and we had 96 different set locations. So we were running all over the place, and we just collected a ton of content, whether it was video content, stills, images for everything from social media to what we call shopper marketing, which is when you go to the store and not only what's like on the can, but like at the display at the grocery store. It could be Daniel holding a Coke bottle, and then it's obviously you can purchase that. So that's how Daniel and I met. And I mean, the time in Barcelona was just, you know, one of the best moments of my career. Just super fun and super great.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely was. And I have to say, this is in over 20 years I've competed in Special Olympics. This is probably been, I can say that this has been the biggest opportunity that I have had. So it was a lot. It was a lot of work to be in front of the camera in that photo shoot, but also really gratifying to not only to have you and to have Coca-Cola share my story, but to be representing the over 5 million Special Olympics athletes across the globe is such a big honor. So take a listeners back to kind of briefly how you got involved in partnerships with 160/90 and working with the Coca-Cola Company.
Oh gosh. I actually, like, very quick version, I started my career out in sports television. So I worked at CBS Sports, and then I worked at Major League Baseball Network. And I think to the core of what I love to do is to tell stories. So I used to tell stories on the media side in sports, and then my career kind of just evolved more to working with brands. And there was an opportunity at this point 6+ years ago to where our president spoke to Coca-Cola. They wanted to work with us. I got introduced to Francesca, and we started working on this program. And it's just crazy to think, because Francesca, who everyone will meet in the coming weeks, is just so close and so fantastic. And I feel like in my career, I've worked with so many different brands, but Coca-Cola is a special one. I think a lot of brands, talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. And Daniel, Coca-Cola is walking the walk. And I think also too, one thing that this isn't just a normal athlete program. We really spend a lot of time and energy to make every single person feel like they're part of a family and just trying to go that extra mile. So hopefully, Daniel, you feel all of the hard work and stuff that we've put for that.
I do. It definitely feels like a family, and just like in special. I mean, I can only speak from the Special Olympic side of the three Olympic movements, but it's a family, and I definitely felt that family. Whether it was us flying oval, first time in first class, but flying over to Barcelona, or the welcome gift in the hotel, and just the whole kind of family, how you and your team was there to support us during the whole shoot, and even for the past year as well. We'll just take a quick break to let you all know that support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. Please join us photos with a monthly or one-time donation to help us operate our studio and continue our mission, giving respect and voice to those of us with disabilities. It takes a lot to operate the studio, about $3,000 each month, and so we really couldn't do this without your support. If you want to see the behind the scenes of Pam jumping on into this virtual studio, you can access our Special Chronicles Plus, or behind the scenes bonus content. specialchronicles.com/plus is where you can join now. It is now live. Our website team has been very busy for the past month putting that together, and so I'm so excited that now Special Chronicles Plus is now live. The amount of work, Pam, which I'm sure that you know, but the amount of work that I've been working with our website team to get that up is amazing. So, anyways, as you touched on Team Coca-Cola in the first segment, but now as we, this is probably a show. A lot of our listeners are hearing about Team Coca-Cola for the first time. So can you break it down? I know you and your team had sent us some talking points, but can you share with us what is Team Coca-Cola, and then what each of us athletes are doing as a part of Team Coca-Cola?
Totally. So Team Coca-Cola is a group of 26 very diverse athletes. As mentioned, we have Olympians, Paralympians, and one Special Olympic athlete, Daniel. And these are men, women, tall, short, soccer players, swimmers, and everything in between from a sport perspective. We have, an athlete from South Africa. We have an athlete from Germany. We have athletes from the States. We have athletes from the UK. And I think the way when we think about Coca-Cola, and when I say the Coca-Cola portfolio, it's all of the drinks and the beverages within Coca-Cola. Every single drink is different. Powerade is unique. Coke Red is unique. Coke Zero, Fuse Tea. There's actually a coffee brand, Smart Water. And it's kind of showing similarities between a diverse group of athletes and then a diverse group of beverages. And I think, in a world right now where there's so many divides and so many, I think Coca-Cola just really wants to celebrate the diversity, as we always should. So it's celebrating the diversity of their beverages and then the diversity of all of these athletes.
Awesome. I love that. And you had mentioned how there's 3 Olympic movements that are coming together, and I love that how because I think a lot of times our listeners will hear every 4 years the Olympics and Paralympics, and then I'm sure a lot of people don't know is with Special Olympics we have I think over 50,000 competitions every year. We have and then there's the World Games that are every 2 years, but can you share from your perspective of what does it mean to have all of us global athletes, diverse athletes of all 3 Olympic movements to be on Team Coca-Cola? What does this mean for you and for this program?
I mean, if Coca-Cola, again, talking the talk and walking the walk, if they really want to reflect the world and the different types of people in this world, I mean, it's imperative to show all the different types of athletes. And back for the Tokyo program, that was actually the first global campaign that has ever included Olympians, Paralympians, and Special Olympic athletes. This is now the second one. And I just think like to be part of like even just a little baby part of that for me is definitely like a top career moment. And I think it just reminds everyone that there's like so many differences in the world and just coming together because that's what makes this world. That's what makes all different drinks great. You know, sometimes you want a Powerade, sometimes you want a water, sometimes you want a Coke. And it's good to have all of them. And I'm just so proud to, again, be part of it and be able to, again, to my core, like share all of these different stories, whether it's about someone, you know, getting injured during a really imperative time of training or, you know, someone losing a limb and becoming a Paralympian or, you know, challenges anyone faces just in normal life. I think it's just great for people to be able to be like, oh, that person looks like me, or I'm feeling that, so they don't feel so alone. So that's what I love about it.
Awesome. And as I'm sure a lot of listeners, I just walked into my local Walgreens yesterday to pick something up for my dad, and that was the first time I saw the Champion Everyday Greatness logo that I've been seeing on what you and your team have been sending to us before it goes out to the public. So you share with us for our listeners who might just be either seeing this or hearing this for the first time, what is celebrating or champion? What is celebrating everyday greatness? I know we gave you all a quote of what it means for us, and I don't have my quote in front of me right now. You probably do, but what is celebrating everyday greatness, and what does this mean to you?
Yeah, I think like just really broadly, what I think the Olympics and Paralympics and Special Olympics like embody is that it doesn't matter if you're an elite athlete or not. Like this is all about the stories and the journey. And, you know, just because you're not winning a gold medal doesn't mean that you're having greatness in your life every day. And sometimes it's those really small moments, like, you know, making someone smile, complimenting them on, oh, you did a really nice job, or that was a really great thing you did, or like, you know, buying a friend a coffee. I just feel like championing those everyday greatness moments, whether big as winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games or small as just telling someone that they did a great job. Everything's important. And I think it's just like paying homage to those everyday greatness moments.
Awesome. I love that. We're going to take one final break before we get to the last two segments of the program. Support for Special Chronicles also comes from ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program, the country's first energy and solar efficiency education program designed for and taught by disabilities. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And support comes from United Airlines, Bridge Disability Business Resource Group, connecting people of all abilities. Learn more on United's commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at specialchronicles.com/United. And with that, as we talk about the title for this episode is creating Team Coca-Cola, that you and your team have been doing for the past year. And this is, I guess, where we get into some of the behind the scenes moments. And how is 160 over 90 creating the marketing and advertising assets of the Coca-Cola Company, featuring the 26 of us Team Coca-Cola athletes in promotion of the Paris Olympics and Paralympics? How are you all doing that?
I mean, this could be like a 45-hour podcast to really go into nuts and bolts, but to keep it really high level, there are actually 5 brands within the Coca-Cola beverage portfolio that are, we say, activating in Paris or during the Olympics and Paralympics, which is Coke Red, which is just the regular red Coke can, Smart Water, Fuse Tea, Fuse Tea, Powerade, and then Costa Coffee, which there's actually only 2 Costa Coffees in the United States, both of which are in Atlanta, very big in Europe and China, hopefully coming to the States soon. So each of those brands have their own creative agency. And then each of those brands there's Coca-Cola's all around the world. There's Coca-Cola, UK, Coca-Cola South Africa, Coca-Cola France. Everyone's activating in different ways and has a different plan. So our job was kind of be the central nucleus and to gather all of this information and then make it look very organized and neat. And then having a plan together so that, we knew exactly what we needed to shoot in Barcelona. We are the ones talking to all of the 26 athletes about their social media campaign, approving, some athletes are in the train station of one of the train stations in Paris for Fused Tea. Some athletes are in displays at stores. One's actually on a can in New Zealand. So it kind of is just dependent on the needs and wants of the different countries and the brands, which is a very complicated matrix, if you will. So we were kind of in charge of like making that all make sense and organized.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely, from an athlete's perspective, it definitely has seemed organized. Can you, speaking of that social media piece that you said, I know there's not a lot that will sharing out to the public yet. And so, but maybe kind of speak from that high level perspective of, can you give our listeners a preview of what social media that they're going to be hearing from us athletes? I know the global announcement that was this past April. Not only did I share it, but I know Special Olympics and in our local region have, and our chairman and CEO have amplified the post of that GIF that I shared, which is for one, it's the first time that I ever knew what a GIF was. But can you kind of give us kind of high level overview of what social media assets that you'll be seeing from us?
Totally. So it actually is very dependent on the athlete. Everyone posted about the launch back a few months ago, as Daniel noted. And then depending on the athlete, some are just really focusing on Powerade. Some are Powerade and Smart Water. Some are what we call the total portfolio, which is all 5 of them, which Daniel is what you're focusing on. So I can't say exactly what everyone's doing because it's all very different, but it's promoting the portfolio. It's also promoting the brands. And then there's some IOC initiatives, which I can't talk about here. That will be happening during the games, that we want our athletes to help promote as well, because Coca-Cola is one of the main Olympic partners. 96 years they're celebrating of their partnership, which is incredible. So just really promoting the team, promoting the brands, and promoting the games.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. And speaking of the 96 years that you said, I know with Special Olympics, they've been powering for 56, 57 years. And what our listeners will hear on the next week's episode with Francesca, she talked about the Coca-Cola just extended which is the first time they've done this, an 8-year partnership with Special Olympics. So really powerful. Can you, and we've got just a little bit of time left, can you give us an overview of the grocery store and the train station and some of those types of ads, kind of from a high level of,
Yeah, so I guess one of the cool parts, things that we're doing, which I actually forgot the name of the train station. It's one of the main metros in Paris, but we have 2 French athletes, an Olympic cyclist and a Paralympic cyclist. Both are fantastic. They're very much the face of the Fused Tea campaign. So if you go into this specific train station, it's like wrapped inside of all of the imagery that we shot in Paris. There's also some like short social media films with the female Olympian from France, like short stories, if you will, just about how Fused Tea is all about being like multifaceted and not just good at one thing. And her whole, Mathilde is her name, her whole story is she actually was really competitive in basketball and just kind of fell into cycling. And now clearly she's good because she's, I think 2 or 3 time Olympian. And then, in store in New Zealand, a twig, it's actually, her signature is on a can. whenever you go to New Zealand and you buy Coke cans, which is really cool. And then the States, because Coca-Cola is partnered with various companies like Walmart and a few other ones. When you go into those stores, CVS, you can see Team Coca-Cola kind of displays by the Coca-Cola beverage section. And I honestly think it's just dependent on the actual store and the state where everything's different. So those are probably a few like the really cool ones.
Awesome. And then something else that is new that I think we had to you asked us if we wanted to be part of the Panini digital trading cards, which I think is a really awesome thing. I had told one of our staff at Special Olympics about that to see if maybe for the upcoming World Games, if we could do a similar initiative. But and so you can kind of just give us a preview of what that is, because it was neat when you and your team had sent me that of what that asset had looked like. With, well, okay, I don't know if I can say what product it was with, but I'll just say it was with one of the but can you give us a preview of what of how this came about and
Yeah, no, for sure. So I actually didn't know what Panini was until a few years ago. And for those of you that don't know what Panini is, and it's very popular outside of the States around World Cups and global football. So it's basically like more or less like a sticker book of all of the teams during football. So, Team UK, Team Nigeria, Team Germany, and you can go to stores and get little sticker packs, and then you open them up, and then you want to like collect all of the people. And when you have a full team and people, it's like a big collector's thing. Actually 60 Minutes on CBS did a really cool story on like this guy who literally has collected all of the Paninis since it started. If you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. And it was like a good like intro of like what the heck this was and like the nostalgia that people have. So anyway, fast forward to what it's never really been an Olympic or Paralympic thing or Special Olympic thing. But what the IOC is doing this year is it. So I think in the States, it will only be digital. So if you download the app, you can like collect the digital stickers, but I'm pretty positive, I have to triple check that in other countries, there's like a physical sticker book that you can actually like buy the teams and complete.
Awesome. And is it all 26 of us athletes will be, or is there only a selection of us?
Well, so I think it's only the ones that have made the Olympic or Paralympic teams. Okay. But I think part of the social media campaign is just to promote it, because we're also promoting all of the other athletes as part of this program too.
Yeah, awesome. A few final points before we wrap up, because I know we both have other meetings to get to. What does this partnership mean for you, for 160 over 90, to be the creative agency that Coca-Cola is highlighting all three Olympic movements: Olympics, Paralympics, and Special Olympics? What does this mean for you for 160 over 90?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said this before. It means the world. First of all, it's fun. It's great. We're meeting all these different types of people from all over the world. And I think it's just an important thing to be a part of, because it's not always, working on an NFL partnership or, a soccer partnership. This is just like a global, iconic, event that just means the world to both myself personally and then our overall agency.
Awesome. And for the next part of social media plugs, for those who are just listening to the audio podcast, because believe it or not, Pam, I'm sure I've been looking at our numbers and more people are listening to the audio podcast, but people also will watch the video on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. And so you'll see down below. Can you share with our listeners where our listeners can follow Team Coca-Cola and as well as Coca-Cola? I added an additional hashtag there that Francesca had told me to add. But can you share with us where they can follow Team Coca-Cola and as well as Coca-Cola?
Yeah, perfect. So hashtag celebrate everyday greatness is the hashtag. And then if you follow at Coca-Cola or at the Coca-Cola Company, then you can definitely see all of the great work. And then also hashtag Powerade too, because Powerade is going to have a huge presence, obviously, with their campaign as well.
Awesome. So I'll make sure to put all those links in the show notes on for this episode. Two final questions before we wrap up. It's been a joy having you on, Pam. I know we got to really know each other during that week of the photo shoot in Barcelona, and you got to meet my sister Caroline. And so what you have any final thoughts on your overall time here coming on the Special Chronicles podcast?
I'm just so thankful. I think this is just so cool. I'm so thankful to be a part of this. I'm glad that you asked me. And I think it's great. I always love when people have a creative outlet and something they're super passionate about. And, I'm sure, Daniel from Chicago's story resonates with someone out there. Maybe my story resonates with someone. And I mean, this is all about storytelling, as I've mentioned. That's like to the core of what I love to do. So like, keep on telling those stories, Daniel, because someone's going to feel it for sure. And if not, I'm sure a lot of folks.
I know, absolutely. Yeah, I know, absolutely. I've heard from a number of listeners. Even we had our state summer games last month in June, and I was waiting. We were waiting to walk into the opening ceremonies, and somebody was telling somebody else about Special Chronicles, and this listener had said, "Well, I listen. I know about you," and they wanted to take a picture with me. And so it's amazing because as you know, like I'm here in the studio, there's nobody else in front of this microphone. And so it's amazing to kind of hear the impact that these stories are all having on listeners. With that, I got one final question, and we've got a bumper that we're going to introduce that. So let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality.
Dignity.
And the recognition of our
shared humanity. We will not stop or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
And with that, ever since I came back from the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, I've been asking all of us one final question that we don't just want our listeners to listen to these stories and to consume the content, but to take action, just like what Team Coca-Cola is doing with all the Coca-Cola brands. But the inclusion revolution is a big message in Special Olympics, and I'm grateful for the work that you and your team have been doing to fully include all three Olympic movements. So as it relates to the Team Coca-Cola and the three Olympic movements coming together, what does inclusion mean to you and to 160/90?
I mean, inclusion means to me, I don't know, I just feel the word like imperative come to mind. Like it's just a necessity because not one person's the same and we're all different. So like, and just what I do is cultural marketing. Like culture is everyone, not just one group of people. So inclusion just is imperative and has to happen. Awesome.
Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. Before we both get on with the rest of our days. I want to let all of you listening know you can shop our merchandise store and know that 60% of the profits go back to Special Chronicles. I'm not wearing our merch right now because I am sporting the Coca-Cola merch, but we've got Disabled Voices Matter line of merch, t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs. It's managed by Outshine Labels. You can go to specialchronicles.com/shop. And keep following the Special Chronicles podcast. Tune in next week to hear all from Francesca all about refreshing Team Coca-Cola. And we've got some exciting series and episodes coming every Monday. A new episode drops. I think that's what the kids say.
I think so too, perhaps.
With the specialchronicles.com, subscribe to our newsletter, join Special Chronicles Plus if you want to see the bonus content. Thank you again, Pam. Our guest has been Pam from 160 over 90, talking all about creating Team Coca-Cola. Thanks for this behind-the-scenes insight.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Have to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. And maybe in person someday.
Yes, for sure.
Until then, have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you next week right here on specialchronicles.com. Tuesday included. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.